welcome to Leo season. Thanks for tuning in to the Embodied Astrology podcast. My name is Renee Sills. I'm a consulting astrologer and an embodiment educator. And I am taking some much needed time off this summer. So these horoscopes were recorded way back in Gemini season. Please let me know how they land for you in the comments. And just know that I do read my comments, and I'm always so grateful to hear how the current influences are affecting everyone differently. Astrology is vast and sun sign horoscopes are general, so remember that not everything will resonate for everyone and to take what works and leave the rest. I also want to remind you that horoscope astrology is most accurate for your rising sign. But, pro tip, there are 30 degrees in every sign, and if your rising degree is later than 25, I would recommend also listening or reading to the horoscopes for the signs that follow yours. If you have a different rising and sun sign, listen for your sun sign for information on your general energy. And you can also listen to your moon and Venus placements for more insight into the current state of your relationships. If you enjoy my readings, make sure to check out your 2025 year ahead expanded horoscope. Those readings are discounted by 25% now, but still have so much information that is very relevant to this year and to this season. You can find them linked in the show notes below. I also want to invite you to join me with my friend, colleague, and collaborator, Ramon Parrish, on the Leo new moon, July 24th, for a special online event we're hosting based on Ramon's recently published book, Drama of the Planets. We'll learn about Ramon's process as an intuitive poet and practice tuning in with our natal charts, celestial muses, and planetary allies for inspiration in our own artistry and poetry. If you want to work with me personally, you can find me on Mondays in Somatic Space, a weekly online class where we practice embodying current astrology through gentle exploratory movement, meditation, and visualization. If this work benefits you and you want to help me keep giving these monthly readings for free, please consider signing up for a recurring monthly donation. If every one of our listeners gave $1 a month, we would cover all of our operating expenses and have funds freed up to offer you even more. Other great ways to support this work are to follow, subscribe, like, comment, sign up for our free newsletter, and send this work to your friends and networks. Links for everything are in the show notes, and you can also find everything I just talked about at embodiedastrology.com. All right, everybody, welcome to Leo season. Meow. Your horoscopes are coming up next. Hello, Sagittarius. Welcome to Leo season. Leo season begins July 22nd, and right away on July 24th, we have a new moon in Leo. And Mercury is also in Leo. Mercury has recently begun a retrograde just a couple of days before Leo season began on July 18th. And there's a lot of things that are going on in the sign Aries talking to this new moon. So the combination of Saturn and Neptune and Chiron, some of the lesser known quote unquote minor figures in astrology, Ceres and Eris, all in Aries. The Sun and Mercury in Leo, and then whatever you have going on in Sagittarius, along with the lunar apogee Lilith currently there. This is bringing big fire trine energy, grand fire trine energy to Sagittarians, and this feels like a really powerful new moon. A lot of times people talk about the new moon as a time of endings, as a time of beginnings, as a time of internal reflection and retrospection, and I would definitely say all of those themes apply. I frequently feel new moon energy as very energizing, and a lot of people will talk about losing sleep at the full moon. I often experience that the new moons are the ones that keep me awake, and I would not be surprised if a lot of Sagittarians, especially Sagittarius risings, feel pretty energized by this new moon. And to be energized by something doesn't necessarily mean it's positive or negative. You might be kept up at night by all kinds of things and all kinds of energies moving through your body. But it does feel like an important moment for some pretty significant retrospection and reflection. About a week after the new moon on July 31st, Mercury in its retrograde will meet up with the Sun for what's called the inferior conjunction, or cazimi. And I feel that a lot of you are really needing to look at the ways that you are moving your energy out into the world. Sagittarius as a sign is often associated with themes of the ninth house. You are the ninth sign, and this is currently where the new moon and Mercury's cazimi are happening. So for the Sagittarius solar charts, Leo rules your ninth house. And this is a place that has a lot to do with vision, with philosophy, with teaching, with adventures, and the energy of seeking. And so, many of you, I think, are really wanting to grow some significant chapters of your life and next adventures. And you are looking out at that horizon, and I think you're asking a lot of questions about it. And it would be totally normal if in this moment you feel a ton of questions and more sense of unknown than certainty when it comes to where you feel like you're going or how you are growing in this moment, and really what is being asked of you. And some of you may be experiencing some kind of reversal or turnaround at the moment as well. So Saturn has also recently stationed retrograde, as has Neptune in your fellow fire sign Aries. Mercury is retrograde in Leo. And these influences to me really bring a feeling of wanting to move forward, having had a sense of readiness previously to move forward. A lot of you have taken a number of first steps. You've experienced new beginnings. You've actually launched projects. You have, I talked about in your Cancer season reading this feeling of gestation. So some of you are like giving birth literally or as a metaphor, or you're ready for that. But the forward moving energy in Leo season is actually a more reflective, retrospective kind of vibe. And in hearing those two things, you might think those are opposites. If we're going to be moving forward, we can't be looking backward. But actually, that's not at all the case. And so some of you might be familiar with, the image of the Sankofa bird or something. Like, to move forward, we actually have to be really honoring the past and what we're coming from. And I feel like Sagittarians, especially in Leo season, are needing to do a lot of connection with the past and what has already happened and what has brought you to this moment in order to really ready and prepare yourself for what is to come. And if you've experienced some slowdowns recently, and this could include impediments on your journey, so feeling blocked for some reason, could be internal, could be external, fatigue, feeling like you're losing your way and you're confused about what it is, or you're experiencing some kind of overwhelm and different kinds of options, or you're getting different kind of information and not entirely sure now of the plan, or maybe you were never sure and now is just a moment where you're definitely feeling the need to kind of ready and prepare yourself before doing something that is next. And so please remember that the retrograde periods of time for any planet that we're working with always benefit from application of a little RE vitamins. And the RE vitamins are those prefixes. So we want to return, we need to remember, probably we have to remain with something. Rest is really important during the retrogrades. These are great periods of time for research, really good for renovations and revisions. Also really potentially rejuvenating, and great times to refine and reclaim and things like that. So Leo season is asking all the fire signs for rest, and Sagittarius, that definitely includes you. As we move from the month of July into the month of August, your inner world and personal relationships are also really needing some attention. And I feel that when you give them attention, you really benefit and you feel much better. And the feeling that I have as I'm saying this definitely is bringing up some kind of sensations around emotional tending and needing to be present and available for what is in the emotional field for you personally, and also in any kinds of circumstances or relationships where there is significant intimacy, where there's a vulnerability, where there's need, where you're working to cultivate, build, and also sustain and maintain trust. Some of you are in really poignant, very powerful moments of transition in important relationships. And I'm going to say that births and deaths are these moments that I'm kind of getting. And that is literal, and that's also a metaphor. So some of you are building your family, you're preparing for a new energy to come in. Some of you are experiencing people in your family or close community transitioning into spirit. Some of you are experiencing births and deaths of the non-human variety. And so these feel like significant life changes, opening up to something new, and also closing the chapter on something that has been. And this needs attention. So please make space in your life, in your day-to-day, but you might also really consider making space around the new moon on July 24th, around Mercury's cazimi on July 31st, around the full moon on August 9th, and definitely a couple of days after that, around the 10th and 11th, Mercury is stationing direct, and we have a very powerful union or conjunction between Venus and Jupiter in the sign Cancer. And this is bringing a lot of the energy that I'm talking to around the need for presence in intimacy and transition. I would suggest, if you're open to this, creating some rituals for yourself to engage with, especially with anyone who might be going through these changes with you. Some suggestions: take what works, always leave the rest, make the meanings that are meaningful for you. So hear my suggestions and think about what comes up for you and your own intuition. Some suggestions: reflect and retrospect on the last chapters. So where are you coming from with this new adventure that you are potentially have already begun, or you're really in the kind of first stages of, or this threshold moment that you're in? So where are you coming from? And spend some time talking it out or writing it out. And I feel that you want to give attention and acknowledgement and honoring to everything that you have achieved in this last chapter. And achievements include your clear wins, as well as what you learned from failing. Right? So if in your last chapter there were hardships and challenges, which I'm sure there were, and you got through them somehow, and you didn't even need to get through with flying colors, okay? You could have come through bruised and muddy and feeling kind of worse for the wear, but I'm guessing that you learned something from those experiences. That's an accomplishment. That's an achievement. And to survive is not to be perfect. It's not to never fail, right? It's actually to be totally imperfect in failing, but to get through it and to learn from it and to be matured and grown and expanded and to have your boundaries and discernment and needs clarified. So spend some time in reflection on where are you coming from and what have you learned? What are you bringing into this moment, specifically because of what you've been through? And then write a whole list of your successes and achievements and points along the way where you can, maybe you didn't realize it in the moment, but you can see now that you were graduating at that time. Right. So there might be a memory that you have of, when I published my first poem, right? And like I submitted a poem and then I published my first poem. That was a graduation, that was a graduation from being an unpublished poet to a published poet. And maybe you never gave yourself flowers, maybe you didn't. And even if you did then, it's still worth now looking back and allowing yourself to receive the harvest of what you did. Okay, so retrospection and reflection. Where are you coming from? What have you been through? And what is bringing you into this particular moment of readiness or change and transition or a chapter page turning. And then I would definitely encourage you to allow that kind of reflection and retrospection to connect you with the gifts that are here and present and that have been available and that will be available to you in the future. And these gifts are multitudinous, but these are the gifts of your own insight, intelligence, spiritual journey, your dedication, your efforts, etc. These are the gifts of all community and kin, including your competitors and quote unquote enemies, right? Like sometimes people who challenge us the most are actually teaching us the most because they force us to look at certain things or rise to an occasion or develop certain parts of ourselves. Obviously, the ones who help us through are so deserving of gratitude and acknowledgement. You also have been a recipient of all kinds of gifts that may have been of the more invisible, energetic, or magical variety. Some of you may have received gifts of inheritances. Of course, material and resource inheritances may have helped you through to arrive where you are. But you are also a recipient of spiritual and energetic and psychological and intelligence inheritances. Creative inheritances, right? Like the inspirations that you have received, the well wishes, the support that flow through in the atmosphere of your general environment. And so especially as we are around the full moon of August 9th and then the following days, I'm going to say all the way until the end of Leo season, your capacity to pay attention, to attend to gratitude opens up your life for you. And I am seeing a number of things in your chart. Okay. So Venus and Jupiter conjunct in your 8th house around the 10th and 11th of August. Mars moving into Libra, your 11th house, the place of good spirit, good fortune, being activated now so that friends, networks, associations, the cosmic web of influence that surrounds you, when you put out energy into the world that is about gratitude and recognition and appreciation and honoring, that energy then gets magnified and shown back to you and given and energized and activated back to you from allies who you may not even know that you have. And then the full moon itself on August 9th is a full moon in Aquarius. This is your solar third place. I've been talking to you all about what's happening in Aquarius for the last couple of years. We have the outer planet Pluto recently entered this place in your chart and going to be here until the 2040s. And communication is key for you all. And you really benefit at all times for the next 2 decades. And I would say this full moon in Aquarius is a really powerful time to tune in with this. The power of your communication. And your communication does not begin or end with your words. In a lot of ways, words are the least important aspect of communication. Before you have your words, you have your attention. Before you even have your attention, you have your intention. What is the energy? What is the vibe that you are bringing to the party, so to speak? How much are you actually invested in learning? That's a huge area of growth for you right now. And Sagittarians love the adventure. They love the quest. Many Sagittarians are naturally wise teachers. I think a lot of Sagittarians love to give of their knowledge. Are you still learning, Sagittarius? I know you are. I know you're learning every single day. But how are you actively seeking learning in your quotidian experiences? You don't even have to be taking classes or something like that. Identifying as a quote unquote student, you can be a student of life. And if you are open and curious and engaged with those and that around you, that is a love language. That is a major offering of resource. Your number one resource is your attention. So giving attention and curiosity and appreciation to those in that around you lights up that which is around you, and it creates a kind of magnetism and reverberation then that wants to flow back into you. And it might flow back into you through aha moments and things clicking or opening up. And this is an important part of this cycle of retrospection and rethinking and revising and remaining with and reworking something. You have to be receptive also. And I do feel that your energy of receptivity is a big part of what allows you to come to the conclusions of what needs to happen next, or come to the next steps and the insight and the aha moments or the ideas. A lot of you you're waiting and you're looking for this guiding next step of inspiration. And I feel very strongly that your receptivity, your curiosity, your intention, your attention, and the thoughtfulness that you bring to the holistic circumstance. Where are we coming from? Where are we now? What are we offering to the future? That is going to open up your mind and open up your life to the best next steps. Okay, Sagittarius, let's tune in an embodied way with the energy of this season by tuning in with the central channel, which is the place where the energies of the fire triplicity, all three fire signs, live and radiate from. Your sign, Sagittarius, governs the hips and the hip joints, the thighs, the butt. And this is the place where the mobility and adaptability of your lower limbs, and I'll also say the stability and the foundation of your lower limbs, hold and meet the central channel at the foundation. And so that joint space between your hips and your sacrum is a really important space to pay attention to for Sagittarius. I'm just going to say that Sagittarians everywhere, tune in with how you relate with your lower body. In the stream of esoteric astrology or soul-centered astrology, your sign is not ruled by Jupiter in the esoteric system. It's ruled by the earth. And the symbolism here is as above, so below. And when we are seeking infinite wisdom and knowledge from the cosmos, the first and best place to look is within. And to recognize that all of that divine intelligence and creativity is here on earth. And so allow yourself a moment to just tune in with however you are connecting with your lower body right now, whether you're seated, standing, lying down, walking around. Even if you're driving in a car or something like that, you can just take a few breaths, let your breath flow down into the base of your spine. If you're seated or standing, you might want to push a little bit down through your feet and feel the activation of your legs up into your back. If you don't have access to your legs, you can reach down through the base of your spine, or you can even just imagine that place in your body connecting to earth. And then take a deep breath and let your breath rise up and spread out into your heart and your chest area. This is the place that Leo governs. And then take another deep breath and let that breath rise up into your head and even up beyond your head and into your crown. Relax and soften your eyes as you exhale. Feel the full circumference and depth of your skull, back of the head and sides of your head, as well as the front. And then from your head, connect all the way down to your pelvis, again, through your heart and through your spine. And just take a couple of breaths with me as you breathe. Try to feel through your central channel. On the inhale, noticing how the movement of breath can reach down into your low back. Maybe even you can feel your breath in your hips and in the way that your body connects with gravity. noticing your breath and the expansive qualities of your heart, and noticing that the touch of your breath can even come all the way up into your head. And as you breathe, you might also just imagine light, firelight, that glow of the fire element emanating through your central channel. And for this next breath or two, Sagittarius, can you access or sense what feels like your own unique essence in the center of your being? This is the part of you that has always been, will always be. It is beyond name. It is beyond any trappings of identity or roles. This is the energy of your spirit. And then take a breath or two of gratitude for your spirit, for the energy that is uniquely yours, and all that feeds and serves that energy, and all that is a part of it. And the uniqueness of your spirit, of course, is inseparable from the many, many beings that have loved and tended and inspired you, from the many beings that have made your life possible and make this lifetime and this timeline possible, from the many beings you are connected with and do not know and cannot feel, but are connected with anyway. And just send some gratitude and appreciation outward and inward, Sagittarius. Notice how that feels in your body, mind. And if you notice any sense of deeper alignment, maybe even just a little bit of energizing, a little bit of glow, then continue with this practice. Let it grow, let it deepen, and let it become very uniquely yours. I would highly recommend tuning in with your central channel throughout Leo season and beyond. This is a really important and effective point of contact for you as a fire being, Sagittarius, and a very important location to initiate and also to return to, initiate from and return to, with all of the projects, adventures, growth, learning, and developments that are coming up in your life, and especially within any of your relationships and the ways that you are seeking to grow and support in your relationships. Sagittarius, I hope any or all of this is helpful. I'm wishing you all the best in Leo season and beyond. Bye for now.